Welcome to Dog Life Radio.
All right. Welcome, everybody. This is Dog Life Radio, and I am your host, Rossi Giuggio. Welcome to episode 38. 37? 38. I think it is 38. Kind of losing track, but that's okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. So, I have been a little bit erratic in my production here. There we go. That's a little bit better. And I'm going to try a little bit harder to get myself back into that regular rhythm of every other week and drop in some knowledge and shows for everybody. So with that being said, today's episode, we've got something it might end up being 2 episodes. We'll kind of just see how it goes. But I wanted to talk a little bit about why health and nutrition, why health and fitness, why exercising. I'm part of a bunch of different Facebook groups and different forums, and I do a lot of reading online just to see what's happening, see what people are asking questions about. And I've seen a lot of questions recently surrounding things like, should I do cardio before or after my weights? Or what should I do to lose belly fat? Or what can I do about this? And what's your opinion on this protein powder or that? Or what supplement should I be taking? And it's really, very common questions. Everybody asks them. But the big thing is, what are you trying to accomplish? I think people are losing sight of that. That's the part that gets confusing to me. Everything is all about problem solving, right? So if you think about it in the sense of, the problem is you want to lose the belly fat. Why? You want to get to the root of it. You want to look better, feel better, be able to run a rugged maniac. You want to be able to compete in a CrossFit event or regionals or whatever, or you want to lift a certain amount of weight. You got to get to that root. What is the overall goal? What is the goal? What's the purpose? Why are you even doing it in the first place? If you don't know the answer to that, it doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to get there. How do you know you won? If you don't have any idea why you're playing the game, you're never going to win. So that's the first thing I wanted to kind of get out there. There's a million different reasons, and none of them are wrong. It's all about how you feel. What does good look like to you? How you feel, how you act, how you look. It's up to you. You need to know the why. That's the first step. Before getting into what weightlifting program, what nutritional diet template I should download and buy, or trainer or whatever. Not that I'm advocating for one thing or the other. You just need to know why. What are you even doing this for? So it's like math, right? Everybody loves math. A plus B equals C, right? C is that outcome. C is the result. C is you. That's what you are right now. And A and B, A is your lifestyle. And what I mean by your lifestyle, what I mean is it's your sleep. It's how much rest you're getting. It's your movement. It's how much non-exercise activity or non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is neat. It's just, I'll get into that a little bit later, but your non-exercise activity and then your exercise activity. That's what I mean by lifestyle. So your lifestyle is A, plus B is your nutrition, which is everything that goes into your mouth. It's your food, it's the water, it's the drinks, it's supplements, vitamins, protein powders, whatever. So A plus B, lifestyle plus nutrition equals C, you. The way you look right now is a result of A and B. You're eating a certain way, you're living a certain way, you're sleeping so much, you're moving, you're not moving, whatever. That's happening. Your eating, your diet, your nutrition, it's all going on right now. And the way you look is the result of it. Now, whether you like it or not is a different story. I know I have certain goals. The C that I am is not exactly where I'd like to be. I want to tighten up here, maybe get a little bigger in other spots. Who doesn't love to have those glamour muscles, right? The buys and the shoulders and everything. But regardless of that, everybody's is different. A plus B. So you tweak some of the stuff that's going on with A, and then you're going to notice differences with C. If you go about it in the fashion of just trying anything and everything, you're not going to know what works. You know, it's like if you get a virus and you try 100 different types of antibiotics and you get better, you don't know which one to keep taking. You don't know what medicine actually did it. So we have to be a little bit scientific in our approach here. We have to do a little bit of data collection. What are you doing right now? You got to baseline it, right? You know, what do I need to change for my diet? Just tell me what I'm supposed to eat, and then I'll eat it, and then I'll get to whatever, picture of C or whatever goal I want to get to. I'll get there. Just tell me, right? Wrong. That's not the way to go about it. The way you need to start is you start with, what are you eating? You got to write it down, document it, get a notepad or something, document down what you're eating for, 2, 3, 4 days, a week, whatever. It's probably good to include the weekend for those of us and you who have jobs where the weekend may be slightly different, or whatever your off days. If you work a shift where you've got Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, make sure you include that too, because it is very common to kind of go off the rails or to get sideways when you're not in your regular routine of going into work. So do your baseline. That's what we're calling it. You got to baseline it. You have to know where you are. And in your head, you need to really sit down and think about what you want to get to. How do you know you're going to win? Is it a numerical? Is it a visual thing? I'd steer clear of the visual. Looking good in the mirror and feeling good is a great way to do it. But sometimes we're pretty hard on ourselves. Sometimes we have that body dysmorphia. So think real hard. Maybe have a couple of different ways to measure your success. That's how you'll know you win. So let's get back to this lifestyle plus nutrition equals results. This is not anything revolutionary. You can hear it from a lot of different people, but everybody's got their own little opinion on what you should tweak within those things. Let's start with sleep, right? Because within lifestyle, you've got sleep, you've got your movement or your non-exercise activity, and then your actual exercise. Let's start with sleep. So how much are you sleeping? You should track that. Keep an eye on it. Oh, I'm good with 3 hours of sleep a night. I can do that, or I'll get no sleep tonight and I'll just make it up later. Okay, it's all bullshit. You cannot make up sleep in the long term. It will impact your performance, and by performance I mean your performance at work, your performance with your family. I mean your performance in the gym and your training. It will impact it. To think it can't, or you can go longer without rest, you're wrong. You're doing damage. If you got the rest, you'd be able to perform better. Fact, it's science. 6 to 8 hours is, the general rule. I've done a fair amount of reading on it. Anywhere in that ballpark. Your age plays a factor, definitely. As you age, as you get older, sometimes you don't necessarily need as much sleep, but a lot of that data may be based on the current state of our population, like your 60 and 70-year-olds now. People who are aging into their 40s and 50s are healthier than they have been generations past. So that could be different. But if you're if you're living and you're just going on less than 6 hours of sleep consistently, you might want to have a second look at that. Think about it. 6, if you're right at 6, okay, everybody's different and everybody can perform differently, but I'm talking and I'm painting in broad strokes here. 6 to 8 hours is the rule. I try to get personally. I feel like 7 hours is really good for me. Sometimes 6, I'm okay with it, but I'll notice a little bit of a difference over a longer period of time. When I was younger, I could, pull all-nighters and everything like that. But you don't perform the way you would if you got the right amount of sleep. It's truth. You don't need to believe me. It's out there. That's what it is. So it's more than just the amount of time. It's getting that quality sleep, right? You want to get that quality sack time. You want to have the right environment. I'm a huge advocate of setting up your room for a great slumber. I like having it really dark. I like it being quiet. The sound. I'm not one of those guys who's got a sound machine. That some people like that. Don't have a TV in the bedroom. Never really like that. I don't like having electronics in there. Some people will even ban phones from their bedroom because of the blue lights. And, you can put it in a drawer. I think it gets really into that addictive place where you're grabbing the phone, you're checking Facebook. You're like, oh, I'll just check Facebook, or I'll just look at YouTube for 5 more minutes. And the next thing you know, you're, 45 minutes later, you're still awake when you should have been asleep. Was it worth it? I know some of those redneck fail videos are pretty good, but you might want to second guess that one. I fall victim to it myself too, so I'm no better than anybody else, believe me. But this is some of the stuff that works for me. It's really getting into a rhythm, getting into that practice where you get the room set. It's almost like when you had for any of you who have kids, when you get into babies and kids, sometimes you get into this routine where you get them to wind down, get their bodies ready for sleep, getting into bed, and so they can get sleep. They obviously need a lot more sleep than adults do, but it's the same exact thing. The circadian clock within their bodies, within your body. You got to wind your body down and prepare for sleep, getting into it. How many parents out there can relate by saying, it's good to have my kid has a sleep routine if they're, it gets all out of whack on the weekends and we got to get them back into it for the school week. People are the same way. That doesn't change when you get older. When you yourself are in a natural rhythm where you're getting up and going to sleep around the same time every day, your body will perform better. It just, it just does. Humans over evolution have not strayed that far from the circadian rhythms within their body. We're up with the sun. When the sun goes down, we're meant to be sleeping. We're not meant to be eating. Sorry for those of you on the second and third shift, or people who are, night owls who, I love being up at night. That's great, but that's against evolution. Sorry, your body was built a certain way. That's just the way it is. You may be fine, and maybe you do perform or have a wonderfully fulfilling life on the second or third shift, but millions of years of evolution. That's all I'm saying. Don't mean to offend you. But if it happens, it happens. So I had mentioned a little bit about you can't make up sleep. I've heard a lot of different opinions on this one. I've heard some people that I'm big fans of, listening to their views and opinions on health and wellness, talk about how you can make up sleep. A lot of people in the military and, doctors during their when they're in school, I can't even think of the name of it, when they're doing their residency and they're working, straight for 2 or 3 days, and then they sleep for a day or two and they make up for it and they're all back to normal, right? Well, not necessarily. It's like the way that I describe it is, if you ate nothing, say for a full day of McDonald's food, you ate McDonald's breakfast, then you had a Big Mac, fries for lunch, and then you had, a couple of burgers and nuggets and more fries and nothing but nice soda all day long one day. But I'll just make up for it. I'll diet. Don't get the sleep that your body needs. That's my point. I'm just trying to lay that out for you. You can't make it up in that sense, meaning the damage is done. You can't reverse it. You can get enough sleep so that you're functioning well again and get back into your rhythm, and you'll get back to it, but it takes a little bit longer than had you not done that. That's what I'm saying by you cannot make up sleep, or make up for loss of sleep, or however you really want to phrase it. So my point here is it's not about what you can live through. It's not about what you can survive. That's not the point of the entire conversation. If you want to talk about how little sleep you can get and how you can go longer on less sleep than me, great. That's a different conversation. That's not about trying to enhance yourself. It's not about trying to be a better you. It's not about trying to get to that goal. If goal is survival, right. Okay, you got me. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're really just talking about, I hate to say it, but man, optimization. It's optimizing yourself. But that's what it is. You want to get to be that next level you. You want to level up. That's what we're doing. So it's funny. It reminds me of that Disney, the Disney movie Aladdin. The genie can't kill you, but you'd be surprised at what you can live through. There's your random Disney reference for the episode, but because that's it. It's just you can live through it, great. But what we're trying to do here is put ourselves in a position so that we can just continue to perform and live and be better than we were before. That's what I'm getting at. So that's the sleep piece of the lifestyle. Remember, we were talking about lifestyle, sleep, your movement, which is like your non-exercise activity, and then your exercise activity, so lifestyle plus your nutrition, your foods and supplements equal your results. That equals you. How you live, your lifestyle plus what you put into your body, that is the result. And you've been doing it for as long as you've been alive, and that's your results. And the definition of insanity, people, is doing the exact same thing over and over again, but expecting a different outcome. So, doing the exact same lifestyle activities of sleeping, your exercise and your non-exercise activities, eating the exact same way, putting the exact same things into your mouth over and over again, you're going to get the exact same result. So if you're looking to change that result, you need to change one of those variables. It's just the way it is. Okay, so let's jump into the next piece. We just hit sleep pretty good. Rest, it's incredibly important. So let's get into non-exercise activity. NEAT. That's some people refer to it as that, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's pretty fancy way of saying it, but anyway, so let's talk a little bit about what you need to know about it and how it kind of impacts what I'm trying to talk about here. So you've got this thing called your BMR, or your resting metabolic rate, or basal metabolic rate, BMR. It's basically the amount of energy. It's the amount of energy the body uses to support all the functions that your body perform daily, like all of the organs and everything. There's your resting metabolic rate. Then there's your TEF, or your thermic effect of food. So this is the energy the body actually uses to convert the food into more energy. So it's like when you eat it, it's your digestion of these things. So that's what TEF is. That's about 10% of your daily energy expenditure. And your RMR, your resting metabolic rate, the energy to like just live, is 60 to 75% of your daily energy expenditure. So you've got just keeping the lights on, 60 to 75%, digesting the fuel that goes into your body, about 10%. So you're at about 70 to 85%. So that leaves what's left there, about 15 to 30%. That's your thermic effect of physical activity, or your TEPA. It's so fancy when they come up with all these abbreviations. Basically, there's two different types of those TEPAs. Your thermic effect of physical activity, it's either planned or unplanned. Yeah, no brainer there, right? So we're going to talk about both of those things. So let's talk about NEAT. So it's all of the non-planned movements and activities that you do each and every day. So it's things like, steps, you're walking around, going from the car to work, getting up, moving, folding laundry, cleaning your house, playing with your kids, that type of a thing. All of that. Anytime you're moving and it's not in that category of a planned exercise routine or something to that effect, right? That is what your non-exercise activity is. So basically what I'm talking about here is what you do when you're not exercising really impacts your lifestyle. It impacts the result of you. Are you the person that parks in the spot that is absolutely closest to wherever you're going, no matter what the weather's like outside, because you don't want to walk as much? Are you the kind of person that would rather sit on the couch and watch TV as opposed to get up and move around? Do you have a dirty house, or a dirty apartment, or a clean house because you like to get up and do things? You don't like it to be dirty, so you're up and moving. Do you have a pet that you have to take care of and take them out for walks and so forth? There's a billion different examples of these things. Those are all the things that play into your overall health. Now, I am not saying that by getting yourself a Fitbit or a Jawbone or a Garmin or whatever the hell you want to get, some type of wearable device that will track your steps is going to be the way to do it. If I hit my 10,000 steps, then all of a sudden, magically, I'm going to level up. I'm going to become the greater version of Rossi because I hit 10,000 steps every day. No, not true. It's all part of the equation. It's all part of that puzzle we were talking about. Every little bit will help get you to that healthier you. When you have that goal and you're laser focused on it, you do everything you can to get there. And these are parts of that equation, or parts of the puzzle, if you will. So, things like standing up. So it's like you have a really long commute into the office. Park further away. That's what I do. I park as far away from the office as I can, so I can get that long stretch, that walk in. If you're sitting at a desk for a long period of time, or you're sitting doing anything for any period of time, get up and move around. Oh God, what's his name? Mark Bell. His Power Project, his podcast. He's got some pretty good guests on there. I enjoy it. But one of the concepts he and Stan Efferding have discussed at a couple of different times, and he's even done his own versions of this as a podcast, a 10-minute walk. There's been a lot of studies, and I heard this on a couple of different podcasts and did a little bit of research on it as well. But so you'll go all day long where you're working, and whether you have a extremely active job or not, you'll work. And most of the United States, anyway, is in more of an office type of a setting. So you're sitting, you're doing office life work. So you're doing that, which is incredibly sedentary, for 8-9 hours a day, whatever, or more. Go into your local gym, whether you're doing CrossFit, you're doing any kind of MMA, you're doing weights, whatever, cardio, you go there and you kill it for 45, 65, whatever, minutes. Our killer routine, you push yourself, your heart races, and then the rest of the day you're a lump. You're just sitting there. That is incredibly inefficient. It is better to go in for a half an hour to 45 minutes into the gym, do a really solid workout. You don't have to push yourself to the brink of death, and then try some of these other techniques, some of these other things, trying to get your non-exercise activity up so you can maintain that momentum throughout the day. It is more beneficial than just being incredibly sedentary, corpse-like, throughout the day, and then go and bring yourself almost on the brink of death with the absolute killer CrossFit workout. Nothing against CrossFit, but it's more important to kind of bring both of these things together, right? Like I said, I park far away from the office. I walk. When I go to stores, I don't pull into the closest seat to the closest spot to this store, grocery store or anything. It doesn't matter. I enjoy the walk. It is good for me, so I do it that way. I have dogs. Take them for a walk if you have pets. Like I said before, they won't do it themselves. And think of it that way. If you got to kind of trick yourself into it, look at them and say that they cannot walk themselves. You need to do it. It's as good for you as it is for them. Let's see. Just even when you get back to the house, back to the apartment, move around a bit. Before you settle in for that sleep, move around, clean up, get your house in order. Take advantage of the fact that it is daytime. It is the time where you're awake, and move. We were talking before about sleep and how it's important to kind of wind yourself down and then go to sleep. So, like I said, when the sun is up, we're supposed to be up and moving. When the sun is down, it's time for sleep. So when you're ready to go to bed, go to bed. But if you're not ready to go to sleep, don't lay down on the couch and be, maybe 60% awake for 3 hours every night, 2, 3, 4 hours every night, binge watching different movies. Now, I'm not saying that I have never done that. Of course I have. But it's just, that's not the norm. When I'm on, and I want to move and I want to do things. I like to be active. I'm not this person who's outside hiking in different national parks every other weekend, but, we're talking about the non-exercise activities. Just try to stay moving. That's how it is. These are pieces of that equation we were talking about before. Part of your lifestyle, how you live your life, will dictate how you act, how you look, how you feel, how you can function. So we were talking about sleep. We spoke about different things you can do to kind of optimize that, get yourself into a better spot, make it a temple. Get that sleep. Make it something that you look forward to every night. And if you are a second or third shifter, and that's just the way it is, do what you need to do to make sure that you're getting enough sleep. Get the heavy duty shades, earplugs, whatever. Maybe you do need the white noise in that type of an instance. And then we were talking about the non-exercise activity. So when you're not exercising, you can't turn it off. You can't phone it in and say, well, I did my workout for the day, so I can be really lazy. My diet's on point. I'm getting my 7 hours of sleep. I exercise. So this last piece, I don't need to do. I can phone it in. Not true. So remember to focus on that as well. So the other piece of lifestyle is actual exercise. Now, I've spoken with a number of different, professional athletes, strength athletes, pro strong men, strong women, CrossFitters, MMA fighters. All of these things are fantastic, and I'm going to continue to bring on different people into this podcast to get you more information, so you get exposure to these things. All of these things are fantastic. It's important to find the ones that motivate you. What's the best exercise routine? Well, the one that you can stick with. The one that you can do, whether you're doing plyometrics, whether you're doing running, yoga, Pilates, or whether you're training for a local bodybuilding show that you want to go to, and you're lifting weights, Olympic weights, or if you're doing CrossFit, whatever, kettlebells at home, it doesn't matter. Whatever you can do and you can do consistently, that's the best way to do it. Some key things to focus on as you're setting up a program for yourself. Research it. We say it all the time. Research it. There's a ton of information on the internet. Any gym that you go to generally will have trainers. You can get a couple of free sessions. There's a ton of podcasts out there talking about all of the different aspects of weightlifting and training. The best piece of advice that I could give anybody is don't overcomplicate it. Really don't need to be doing 17 different movements for each body part. You don't have to be running 45 minutes every single day. Maybe you do if you're training for a marathon, so that might be true. But there's lots of different ways that you can get really in shape. And before you design that exercise program, figure out why you're doing it. If there is a race, then you're going to want to try to really focus on cardiovascular. If you're training for a strongman competition or a powerlifting meet, guess what? You're going to train a certain way. So ends justify the means. So you really need to understand what the end result is, and then you can program accordingly. So this little bit of a rant went pretty good. That is the first half of the Giuggio equation to results, lifestyle plus nutrition. So what I'll do is I'll come back in part 2 of this, and we will focus on nutrition, which will be everything you put in your mouth. Foods and supplements, people. It's not that kind of podcast. Get your head out of that toilet.